Have you ever had a daydream about having a rare romantic rendezvous or being seduced into a state of reckless abandon? Well, there have been quite a few notorious lovers who lived out that fantasy and then, boom, they got caught with the wrong person. Seems like they just couldn't resist the call of their old cheating hearts.
I have sinned against you, my Lord.
What the hell were you thinking?
Happy birthday, Mr. President. Happy birthday to you.
I can now retire from politics after having had happy birthday sung to me in such a sweet, wholesome way.
Well, on today's show, we're going to talk with a few of the growing number of women who are confessing to having affairs. Women were once very reluctant to admit, even to their closest girlfriends, that they were slipping around on the sly. But according to a Newsweek poll, more than 20% of married men have had affairs, compared to more than 11% of married women. And even if you're single, there may be less guilt, but there's even more cheating, the studies tell us. Well, Tom from Stafford, Texas, there says he's willing to admit it. Tom, you cheated, huh?
Yes, I did.
Yes, you did. Every chance you got, huh?
Pretty much.
Why didn't you just break up, move on, instead of hurting somebody like that?
When you say hurt, that's both sides of the fence. Cheating on her was like cheating on Madonna, okay? I mean, there's two sides.
And what does that mean?
That she was a little promiscuous.
So was she cheating on you too?
Angel. I suspect that, yes.
You suspect that. So here you are in this relationship. Both of you are cheating. You admit that you cheated. About how many times?
I'm not the kind of person. I mean, I don't wake up in the morning and flip a coin and say I'm going to cheat on, the person I'm with,
You likened your cheating almost to a sickness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why did you choose a sickness to call your cheating?
I think it was a primal instinct.
Do you believe men are ever faithful? No. This lady doesn't. She said no.
She answered my question.
You answer it. Do you believe?
I think there are circumstances where one gets into I wouldn't recommend cheating if I had children and mutual investments with your person. There's too much to lose and couldn't afford a good lawyer.
Mm-hmm. Now, you got caught a few times.
Or unless I was running for president. Then...
Oh, I see. Well, you were caught a few times, right?
It depends on how you define that.
Well, I tell you what, why don't we have the ex-girlfriend Sandra from Dallas, Texas come out here and describe it. Sandra, come on out, honey. So, Sandra, let's hear your side of the story. Talking to Tom is like pulling teeth. Men aren't real easy about talking about their cheating hearts, but he broke your heart.
Yeah, he broke my heart. I've never, ever had anybody treat me that way or do that to me. And I tell you what they say, what goes around comes around, and I tell you what, I think that's what's happening to him now.
Let's back up a little bit, Sandra, because I believe that there are many, many women. I know a lot of people in the studio audience were saying before the show, they have been in your shoes, they have been cheated on. Can you describe what that feeling is like?
Well, I've been trying to forget it, so I try not to think about it, but I sleep now. I'm comfortable, I'm happy. I don't worry about where he is or who he's been with, or, he has a little trait in that he would flutter his eyelashes and clear his throat when he was telling stories. It took me a while to get that down, but it's a horrible feeling. I would never, ever, ever do that to anybody. I would never treat anybody like that.
How did it start? Were there problems? Because you had a relationship for like 4 years, right?
Almost 6.
Almost 6 years. And then, when did things start changing? Did you start, as you look back on it?
When we got the bar. When you own a bar, you're like a psychiatrist, and everybody wants to come in and cry in their beer and tell you their story, and some people fall for it and some don't. And it's just the element. He was right. You know, we're in the music business, we're in the bar business. It's the element, and it's a shame that it has to be that way.
When did you notice that there was something up?
There was
Probably-
something up.
Probably about a year after we opened our bar. That was in '94, maybe '93,
And you denied it a while.
oh, I denied it for a long time.
Until he
I
got
denied
caught
it until
red-handed.
last year. Yeah. Oh, he got caught a few times. It's hard to not get caught when you go out in public and this person is always there in your face to humiliate you, to let you know that, hey, I'm in the picture. You know, it's like they deserve each other.
When we come back, I'm going to introduce you to a man who says he was simply shocked and devastated when he found out that his wife of 12 years was having an affair. We're going to talk about why men cheat, why women cheat, all on today's show about cheating hearts. Oh, those cheating hearts. We were just talking with Sandy and Tom here, who were telling us about after a 6-year relationship that Tom started cheating an awful lot. And Sandy, I believe you actually caught him red-handed. Tell us about the day that you caught him.
Well, there was 4 times I caught him. 4 different women.
And then, Sandy, I'm going to ask, why didn't the first time give you a hint? But go on, because
I didn't want to believe it the first time, and he told me nothing happened. He stayed out all night, and he told me nothing happened.
Honey, there'll be a woman climbing out of your bed out the window, and the man will be saying, I don't know what you're seeing. I don't know what you're talking about. So go on, tell me about the day that it really was the final straw.
The
that you finally got
last time he got involved with a gal, and he moved out because he stayed out for 2 days. After a gig, he parked his car at this club with my band equipment in it and disappeared for 2 days. I needed my equipment. I'm like, where is he? This is where he played last, and there's his car.
So, Tom, where did you say you were for 2 days?
Who knows?
Who knows?
I don't remember that one.
You don't remember that
don't remember.
one. But didn't you catch him actually red-handed with a woman in the bed?
No, not in the bed, in the car.
This is a year old, more than a couple of years old.
No, it's not even a year old. It'll be a year
Let me
next
tell you
month.
something. It can
Next
be 20
month.
years ago, and you never
Hallelujah.
forget that pain, believe me.
1 year, girl.
Sandy, explain to him, because actually you were the victim in this situation. So why don't you explain to him what that did to you and what you've had to overcome?
I never could believe that he could do this to me, that he could hurt me so bad. You know, when you say you love somebody and you love them with all your heart, you don't do that to people you love.
Why don't you tell
You
Tom?
don't lie, you don't cheat, you don't stay out all night, you don't bring this horrible, ugly person into your life and disrupt your life. I have kids, they're not his. I have 2 children, and my youngest son was 11 when we moved in together. He's 17 now, and he's influenced him. You know, he doesn't respect women because of what he's seen this guy do.
Yeah, I think that this is quite a serious problem. And Tom, your behavior is really showing that you're taking this problem too lightly. And I think many people in America are. You have to understand that this can disrupt a person's self-esteem. You're bringing the threat of sexually transmitted diseases into the bed. And it's a greater risk than even shooting at someone. It's a risk that haunts you for many years. And you have to understand what the gravity of the consequences are to a person. You're taking it way too lightly.
Tom, don't you have any regrets?
I've considered all of those things, and I'm currently in a monogamous relationship, and I am.
Right. Ask him what happened last weekend. I heard that story.
What happened last weekend, Tom?
I don't know. She seems to know more about my life than I do.
Your
I haven't
buddies
even
told
talked
me.
to her. I haven't
No,
even
we don't
talked to her in
speak,
a
but people
year,
love to
and she
tell
tells
me
me
what's
more
going
about
on.
my life.
He got caught, his girlfriend that he was cheating with on me, caught him with another girl, and she had her hand down in his pants or something.
Tom, do you believe that once a cheater, always a cheater?
Let me tell you something. Women are piranhas. I mean, I don't admit.
Cop out.
Women.
Oh, yeah.
What do you say?
I mean, listen to me. I do not initiate these things.
No.
I mean, I'm going to tell you a
He's an
story.
innocent victim.
Here's one thing. Here's one thing. I mean, it takes two to tango, okay? And I'm not an aggressive kind of person in that department. But I'm sitting in my club. This is one out of.
Make it quick.
A girl comes in. She says her husband is left her here stranded. She needs a ride home. I knew who she
Okay, honey,
was.
then let me put you on the pool table, and then
she
I'll
says
take you
to me-
home. What happened? And he told me
what
that she
happened is-
raped him.
What happened
She
is-
raped him.
What happened is she said, "I've never been done on a pool table before," and starts ripping her clothes
the
off.
manager of-
And I'm going.
Oh, my
I'm
God.
going like, ho.
What do you say, sir?
Tom, I want to ask you a question.
I mean, that's a true story. I mean,
Okay,
I'm telling
all
you.
right.
Tom, what's really the main reason why you broke up with her? Is it because you was getting tired of her, or like you was getting tired of a long relationship
I
or
kicked
something?
him out.
You wanted something new?
I think that's a good question, though. What makes someone cheat? From your standpoint and your experience, Tom, what was the thing that made you go out and start slipping around?
The want of somebody else.
That's the main reason.
So why don't guys just break up with the first girl before they go out with the next one?
I guess they get tired since they get in. I don't know.
You don't know? Well, next we're going to meet a man who is a reminder that men go through this too, with a number of women who are cheating. James says that he was simply devastated and shocked when he found out that his wife of 12 years was having an affair. We're going to talk to you when we come back, James.
And then what about opportunity? Ladies, you all know that women are attracted to dogs. They are. And if they were not attracted to dogs,
Oh, come on.
they are. Look at all the nice guys all around the country, Rolonda. All these nice guys are being called wimps, they're being called boring, and they're being called the F word.
So I hope you're enjoying this episode, and I hope you will subscribe and continue to enjoy. Just wanted to let you know that my voice acting masterclass is now digital. If you are somebody who's interested in being a voice actor, please go check it out. Go to Rolonda.com, Rolonda.com. That's my website, and you can check out all the details and even enroll in my voice acting masterclass. Hey, you'll never know how good you are until you try. Now, let's get back to the show. Hollywood's hottest gossip.
Whitney Houston is pregnant, guys. Did you know that?
Get the inside scoop
The word is that she's already a little uncomfortable being the new Mrs. Kennedy.
on Rolonda.
We've been talking to Tom and Sandy. Tom says he's not showing much regret after he cheated on Sandy after a 6-year relationship, but Sandy is certainly talking about the tremendous pain that she has not been able to, or she's trying to get over very much. Women, of course, are not the only ones who suffer when someone cheats on them. James was suffering as well. He found out that the mother of his 3 children, his wife of 12 years, had met somebody special online. Well, he says he at first didn't take it very seriously. Why do you think she's divorcing you then?
She obviously fell out of love with me and fell in love with somebody else, someone who she felt at the time was a better companion or a better mate for her. And she needed that cruel and or physical abuse or whatever to obtain a divorce in New York State.
When you listen to Sandy's story, could you relate to what she was going
of course.
through?
You know, it's not. There's no difference between men and women. It's feelings are feelings. You know, it does hurt. It bothers you.
You had such what you thought was a happy marriage.
Well, don't get me wrong. It wasn't picture perfect. I mean, there's times like all marriages. We fought. We had differences. You know, she would sleep on the couch. I would sleep on the couch. It wasn't perfect, but it was there. You know, it was, we were there for the children, or at least I was there for the children. I felt my job, my place was to be there for the kids, to do whatever I had to do, you know, 2, 3 jobs, whatever it took.
You had a big home.
I had a huge house. They each had their own bedroom, own TV, own VCR.
You bought ponies for the kids.
Ponies. I'm not rich. I'm a construction worker. I'm a union carpenter. Local 531 here in Queens. It's... Okay.
So while you're out working, trying to provide for your family, to keep
Right.
them in a big home, to keep the children well nourished and well taken care of, your wife is playing on the computer.
Right.
She gets online.
Right.
She meets somebody.
Right.
Did she mention it to you?
Yeah, she did at the beginning. We got the computer in November of '94, and by about March of '95, she told me that she had met somebody and she was falling out of love with me and in love with them. And I'm like, yeah, okay, you know, whatever.
He said a
Do what you
computer
gotta
love,
do. I'm
yeah,
busy.
right.
Yeah, I'm busy. Get real. When you have a real story to tell me, then I'll listen to you.
Right.
And then as the months progressed, I realized that it was getting serious and serious. And it still really didn't even sink in. She had another affair with someone else, okay, also. And when that hit, I realized what was going on. And then it was just, it was devastating.
How did you find out?
The computer is a wonderful tool, but it also leaves a lot of traces, okay? You can go back in and retrieve things. I can, not only that, but she would print or, you know, print what she would write somebody, like this person or the second person, tear it up and leave it in a wastebasket. I, being a suspicious person, would go in and look, see it, taste it all back together, and then find out anything I needed to know.
When you found out
Yeah,
what you didn't want to know,
right.
what did that do to you? What was your initial feeling? What did you go through?
Devastation, everything. I mean, from being a man, you know, not being able to keep my wife happy, the whole thing, the whole 9 yards. The main thing was not being able to see my kids grow up. I love my children. I spent all my free time with my kids. And apparently she threw that back at me as not wanting to spend time with just her. Like if her friends were going to Atlantic City, say, why can't we go? What do you want to go there for? Let's go to Disney World with the kids. And that's what we did. We ended up going to Disney World with the kids because I thought that's what she wanted also. But now she throws back at me that we never did anything on our own. We never did anything as a couple. It was always with the kids.
Did you ever try to piece it back together?
I did, yeah, but she was out of the picture completely. She had sincerely fallen out of love with me and head over heels in love with quite a few people. Let's put it that way.
Quite a few people.
A few people, yeah.
Whoa. I just think about your children and what they have gone through. Clearly, when parents get angry with each other and they're screaming and yelling, you cheated on me and you did that.
Right.
How are the children relating to all of this?
Children are resilient. They have a built-in defense mechanism most of the time. My youngest one is the only one who really expresses her true feelings about it. I don't want to leave, Daddy. I want to live with you, Daddy. Can I stay? Can I sleep over tonight, too? And I have to explain to her, no, you know, you have to go back to Mom's. To me, that's what hurts. That's the most unnatural thing. It's not the place I thought I'd be at my age, at this state, at this stage of the game.
Yes, sir.
Hi, I think in James' situation, James, right?
Yeah.
It has to do with people being dissatisfied with themselves. Like he said, his wife was home working on the computer. He was at work. He didn't have time to worry about what else was going on, and she sat there in her idle time doing that. So it's a matter of people being dissatisfied with themselves. Then they start other relationships, and they continue doing that because they never finish any one thing. So they go off and start another relationship because of the lack of what they had in the former relationship.
I want to know, especially when you've got 3 kids at home, why somebody makes that type of decision. We're also going to talk to a reformed cheater who wrote the book on why men cheat. We're going to also get the inside deal on what makes women stray. Right after this. Thank you. Very good point. Good point. He would take you to meet your lover, and he didn't know he was taking you to meet your lover? So you played your husband, your family, and a whole lot of folks around town, too.
You can say that.
We're talking about why men and women have affairs, and some believe that the reasons that a man takes on a secret lover is quite different from the reasons why a woman might slip around on the sly. Susan Shapiro-Rips interviewed more than 200 women who had other lovers for her book entitled A Passion for More, and she asked them why they cheated. And Susan, what did they tell you?
Most of the women did it because they were so unhappy within the marriage or the relationship. They needed self-esteem, or they needed to feel empowered, or they unexpectedly fell in love with someone else.
You say the emotion, that women need more than just sexual attention. They need emotional.
Some women do it just for sex, but for the most part, they want whatever they can't get from the primary relationship.
I want you to also meet Michael Baisden, and he says that he is a reformed cheater. He'll be the first to admit it. He is also the author of the book entitled Never Satisfied, How and Why Men Cheat. You can answer that question, Michael. Why do you think men cheat?
Why do I know men cheat?
Why do you know men cheat, Michael?
When you've been there, see, the experts rather are the men who do the cheating. She mentioned ego. She's right. A lot of men who cheated, like myself, you cheat because it makes your self-esteem higher. The more variety, the more educated, the more attractive the woman is, the more it feeds into your ego. Also, immaturity. It takes a real man to approach a woman and say, I am not interested in a one-on-one relationship, to give her an option to say whether or not she wants to be involved or not. Insecurity, which is something no man's going to admit to being is insecure. But a lot of men are insecure, and one of the best ways to keep from falling in love with a particular woman is to divide yourself emotionally. So what do? They choose a woman based on what she has to offer financially, what she has to offer emotionally, and what she has to offer sexually. So if you have all these various different kinds of women, you don't have to worry about falling for one. And then what about opportunity? Ladies, you all know that women are attracted to dogs. They are. And if they were not attracted to dogs,
oh, come on.
They are. Look at all the nice guys all around the country, Rolonda. All these nice guys are being called wimps, they're being called boring, and they're being called the F word, friend, which means he's not getting any, okay? Exactly. And where's all this being taught? This is not something that men are born with. Men are taught to cheat just as women are taught to be victims at home by good old mom and dad.
Susan, you agree with all that?
I disagree with some of it. I think that Michael's right that it's the triangle, that women don't want to leave the marriage, but they want the lover, or they don't want to leave the relationship, and that's what Michael's saying about men.
That they don't want to leave.
That they want both, and it becomes a triangle. There's the girlfriend, and then there's the lover that you're cheating for, and then there's you. So it's a triangle.
Do most cheaters want to get caught?
No.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
give
No.
me a
Oh,
break.
okay.
No way.
Wait a minute. Let's take one at a time. Michael, you say no. Why?
Why would a man want to get caught cheating? Men are stupid. They think they're not going to get caught, but they do. But they don't set out to cheat saying, oh, well, I think I'll get caught next week.
Right. Susan, you disagree with that?
If a woman wants to get caught, then she makes it her business to get caught. If she wants to keep it a secret, she keeps it a secret.
Are women better at keeping it a secret? There's some women down there clapping if they want to. Are women better at keeping the secret about an affair than men?
I agree.
Yes.
That's something they agree
Men
on.
are sloppy. Men are very sloppy.
They're much better at it.
We had just said at the beginning of the show that a growing number of women are beginning to admit it. When a while ago, they wouldn't even talk about it with their closest girlfriends. Why is this?
I think that they feel entitled. Women are starting to feel more entitled in the workplace and in every aspect of their life. So they feel entitled to have a lover.
What do you say?
Okay, this is for Sandy. What qualities in him makes you love him? He's busted. Why do you want him? He must have.
Listen, he was a nice guy when I met him. I mean, I didn't fall in love with this guy sitting next to me.
But he
believe
think
me.
he a player. He's not. Look at his shoes. You need to get something back.
You can tell I don't live with it no more.
Anybody else? But you know, Sandy, why did you stay? Because you said that you caught Tom at least 4 different times, and you still stayed.
The first time I didn't believe he did it. I really didn't want to believe it. Then it got to the point where I just didn't think I could, you know, didn't think I could live on my own. That was part of it. But I loved him. And I really thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with him.
And you thought you could make it work, and you were in denial.
I was willing to try. Other times in relationships, I'd bolt. You know, I was like, I think this is worth saving. I think this relationship, you know, we were a good couple, but, you know, it just got to the point I couldn't take any more.
But the cheating heart. We're going to get your question when we come back. And also, the risks we take when we choose to have an affair can have devastating results, as we've heard. One woman lost her husband, her home, and now she says she fears that she's also lost her children's respect. Find out what happened in that story right after this. Now, if you're going to be in the New York area and would like free tickets to Rolonda, well, please call us. Falling for the temptation of having an affair with another lover can certainly shatter any relationship. Geraldine is visiting us from Chicago, and she has quite a story to tell. She had an affair, she says, then left her husband, her home, and her 8 children for her new love. Geraldine says that her children, who are now all grown up, still practically hate you for that one moment in your life. Geraldine, I gotta say, 8 children?
Yes.
Who was this man who walked in your life and took you from all of that? Goodness.
Well, he wasn't Superman, that's for sure. Superman was my ex-husband. Our relationship was dissolving already.
You and your husband?
Yes, and I became ungrateful, dissatisfied, and kept all the focus on what he was doing and nothing on what I wasn't doing. I had no idea that what I had produced in this relationship was just everything centering around my children and my husband. Nothing on me. And I got lonely. I would call the minister of my church and tell him how lonely I was. He said, well, where's your husband? I said, He's laying right here. For 1 year, I slept the whole year. I could sleep all day and sleep all night.
So you were depressed?
Well, if I was rich, I would have known that, but I wasn't rich, so I just thought I was sleeping. Okay.
But so basically, all of the oomph had gone out of the relationship. You'd spent so much time dedicating to your family that you had not centered on yourself. And then all of a sudden, one day, somebody came along, and I would think this person probably started paying you some attention.
A lot of attention.
What did he do?
Would you believe he listened?
Something that simple.
It's that simple. My ex-husband never had any time because he was too busy working and getting, he's an electrician.
Mm-hmm.
He had marks all on his hands from pulling wire. He was tired. He was just too tired because he was trying. This is not for your sympathy. I just feel real bad about what I did. Please don't feel sorry for me. Just don't do it. He was exhausted. Damn, I mean, he worked all day.
Mm-hmm. What's making you cry right now?
Because I thought about it. I think about it all the time, and my children won't let me forget it.
You say that you fear that your children have lost all respect for you.
Not fear, it's the fact.
Mm-hmm.
They won't let me forget it.
So if you had to do it all over again, how would you have handled the situation?
I would have been woman enough to say, this is it. I mean, it's over. There's nothing else going on in this camp.
Who was the man who came along and swept you off your feet at that time?
A player, of course.
He was a player?
Oh, all the angles. Every angle there was, he knew it. Mm-hmm. And I don't hold that against him. I mean, if you're out there, they're out there too, you know. And he found me at home, and I was always home. I was always home. And I guess you can say that my husband and I both were very naive. I can't speak for him, but he used to take me to meet him.
He would take you to meet your lover, and he didn't know he was taking you to meet your lover? So you played your husband, your family, and a whole lot of folks around town, too.
You could say that. I mean, if the truth is the light. Why I'm here today is because maybe if I talk about it and my children, maybe they can forgive me. Not just forgiveness, but this is the last time I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to ask forgiveness for it. I'm sorry. I cannot turn back the hands of time. And I desire to go on my life, and they keep badgering me with it. I mean, they keep beating me with it every time I do anything wrong, or they do anything wrong, and I talk to them about it. They always sling it back in my face again, you know, and I'm fed up. I feel like I'm getting an ulcer behind it. These are adult children that have chosen their own lives, and they choose to feel like whatever I did is the cause of them doing what they have done.
I understand that even when your children are cheating, and you try to say, don't do that, I've been there, don't go there.
Please don't go there.
They turn to you and they say, well, you did it.
Pretty much.
Yeah, Michael.
I wanted to say that women are held to a different standard than men are. You know, you have men out here, as I said, that fathers cheat all the time and nobody ever points a finger at dad. But let mom step out there, then she's a whore with anything else and everybody criticizes her. That's how society is. I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's wrong. But it's very good that, first of all, we have a woman that's admitting that she's doing it. And it's very important that people see how painful it is because families are destroyed over this. And in the book, although I write about why men cheat, there's a chapter called Pay to Play. The gentleman here I thought was very articulate in talking about the diseases. I mean, running rampant, 70,000 new AIDS cases, 300,000 chlamydia. I mean, it's really running rampant. It's very important that what she's saying is a lot of people pay attention because families are being destroyed over infidelity.
But what we have to say is why this happened to her. And it happened because, and this is what is important, it happened because she was so lonely and she felt so ignored, and the lover became a fantasy. He listened and he was there and it was magical and there was nothing ordinary about the relationship.
I mean, is that an excuse though?
No, it's not.
But it's the reason. It's the reason.
Because
that it
men
happened.
say, hey, I was lonely, and then he does it. You don't find this kind of
Michael,
sympathy.
you have to understand what
I'm just
motivated
being honest
her.
about
Listen to what Susan is saying.
I'm saying that the motivation for so many women is that they're so alone within the marriage or within a long-standing relationship, and they don't know what to do and where to turn. And then this man comes along, and he is a fantasy.
And he does notice she's at home a lot, and he does notice
and
that
he has the time, and whatever the husband isn't, or the long-standing lover isn't, the husband, then this man is.
When we come back, we were able to get one of your daughters to join us on the phone. And I'd like to talk with her a bit about what she has gone through in all of this, and maybe she will give you forgiveness on the show. We'll talk to her right after this. We'll be right back.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying this episode of Rolonda, and I hope that you'll subscribe and follow so many of my other activities on my Rolonda channel, including some stand-up comedy, some podcasts, some great auntie advice, and loads of laughs and lots of fun. So subscribe and stay tuned. Now, let's get back to the show.
OJ faces a new judge, but this time there's only one talk show with a seat in the courtroom, and that's Rolonda, bringing you what the other shows cannot in special Friday shows. A question for Geraldine here.
Well, first I want to say I love your show.
Thank you.
Much better than Oprah. Geraldine, my question is for you. Now, even though he was a player and even though he made you unhappy, did you feel more self-respect after your affair? Did you feel better afterwards?
Okay, even though he was a player and even though he made me unhappy, he did not make me unhappy. And I wasn't aware that he was a player. I'm just learning that in the last 5 years, coming out. I'm just learning now just what a player is.
So it was a positive experience at first. It was a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
Okay.
But what you're saying is that even after the affair that made you momentarily very happy, in the long run, you lost the respect of your 8 children, you lost your home, you basically lost everything. Is that right?
As a matter of fact, it was such a good experience. I mean, we were going on rides in the country. Did you know there were buffaloes in Chicago? I had no idea. All I knew was school, church, home. That was it. I didn't know anything else. And some community things that I did. This man showed me things I had never seen before. Come on.
That is just, I know all you all sitting out there all warm. But, she said, you all are not listening to what this woman is saying. She said, I didn't realize he was a player until the last 5 years.
Of my life,
outside
of the relationship.
I know what she said. I don't need any interpretation.
Okay.
What I'm saying is if once you know a woman has a responsibility to get out, I don't want to hear about the sympathy I'm supposed to care when you knew for 5 years you were dealing with a dog. And this is what men count on. He knew what he was coming after. He saw the woman's self-esteem was low. He found that she wasn't getting what she wanted. I'm sure he didn't come in with all this love, talking about commitment, doing positive things, maybe a little fun when he could find the time. Because a player knows how to do that.
Of course not. He came in and did my landscaping for me. Yes, he did. He did some work.
You all should have got married and ran away and lived happily ever after. Then maybe it wouldn't have been this kind of drama.
I wasn't planning on having the relationship. The man came in and did a job for us.
For 10 years he did a job. And look what the result was. See, I'm not trying to be hard. All I'm trying to do is make sure that we don't smudge this thing over and make it seem all rosy. Because if it was a man, you all would be tearing into him right now.
Well, it certainly isn't rosy for Nancy, who is joining us from Chicago, Illinois. She is Geraldine's 20-year-old daughter. Nancy, are you with us?
Yes, ma'am.
Nancy, I can imagine that when you found out the news that your mom had been having this long-term affair, that it hit you pretty hard.
Yes, actually, I was in denial about it because I was a child and I didn't know anything, like my mother said, but the church, that's it. And I just knew families of staying together, being faithful, that's it. And I had to see it with my own eyes. After we lost our house and after my father had left or whatever, I saw it one morning. I remember waking up, getting ready for school, and my mother was in the bed with this other man. But that hit me hard because I'm a little girl, and all I know is my father and my mother. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What do you say to your mother, who is afraid that all of the children have lost total respect for her? Have you lost respect? Are you willing to forgive your mother at all?
actually, what I can say for my mother, she's a queen. She's a beautiful black woman, okay? I love my mother, okay? I love my mother. The only thing, Rolonda, that did for me as a child, as I grew up at the age of, I'll say just now recently, my whole mindset is starting to change as far as what my mother went through, okay? And what I can say that what that did for me, all it did was help me to grow because I listened to her. And what she's telling me is real. And by her telling me that, I learned from it, okay? And this is all growth. That's all it is.
Nancy, do you forgive your mother?
Yes, I forgave her a long time ago.
I don't think she believes you. And as she's sitting here, she burst into tears when you called her queen. I don't think she thought that you would forgive her. Why don't you speak to your mother who is desperately listening to what you have to say to her?
Mama.
Yes, dear.
Mama, I'm sorry for everything I've ever said to you. I'm so sorry for ever downgrading you because you brought me here, and I wouldn't know and be the way that I am today and walk the way that I walk if it wasn't for you.
Is there anything that you tell her in hopes that she would avoid a situation, either being a victim or victimizing someone with an affair?
Yeah, go to school, Nancy. That's all I can say.
Get a life for yourself.
Please, get a life for yourself.
I would like you to meet Linda Barbanel. She's the author of Sex, Money, and Power, and she believes that if both people want the relationship to work, she says it is possible to rekindle the romance after an affair. Most people believe it's impossible to trust your lover after an affair, but you say there is hope?
Yes, there is hope. As long as there's communication, there is hope.
And we'll talk about that and also maybe how communication might have avoided some of these situations to begin with. We'll be right back in a minute. Linda says that after an affair, there can be healing. There is the possibility of getting back together. So many people, Linda, believe that if you break my trust, how can I ever trust you again?
Well, trust has to grow, and you have to be trustworthy. You have to really go out of your way to be trustworthy and accountable for where you are and to share what it is you've learned, said, met, the whole 9 yards. And it's through your actions, not your words, that trust can be rekindled, providing that there are enough feelings there to build upon. I'm a therapist and a writer, so I'm used to communicating, and I'm begging America to know that men have to listen to women more. Men have to give more attention to women. These are the two main reasons why women do look elsewhere, as Susan mentioned. Mm-hmm. And men need respect. And they need appreciation from us women. We need to get used to saying, I appreciate every single day.
There seem to have been many points in these relationships that went awry that maybe if a little communication had happened, like I'm getting bored now,
yes.
or you know the things are just not working before they made the decision to go outside.
I call it putting the words to the music. Mm-hmm. If you're lying around waiting for a guy to come home and bored when he's there, and you know the cycles on your washing machine as well as you know his moves in bed, you know you got a problem.
Right, and do something before it gets too late. What are the 5 signs that you can tell that a spouse or a mate is cheating?
Well, as we've heard today, we have a lot of unresolved anger. These fights that just don't get resolved, and controlling behavior and nagging behavior and tiffs that don't get resolved really can escalate into volcanoes. And we act out our anger rather than use our mouths. We use our feet or our private parts, as it turns out. Mm-hmm. Then we have the bedroom boredom. I mean, if the most excitement you're having is making love with the lights on, you need to jazz things up a little bit, but you have to speak up and to say, hey, can't we do something a little different tonight, and have an idea about what to do. Then you have the lies and the excuses. Be on the lookout for lots of excuses, staying late at work and all of these lies that just don't add up. Women's intuition comes into play here. Men are a little further behind, I think. Then you have the gifts. If you're getting gifts, is your partner trying to buy off that person's own conscience.
I see guilt in capital letters there.
I see guilt too. and guilt can be G-I-L-T when it comes into the gift category. And I talk a lot about that in my book, Sex, Money, and Power. How gifts really do say a lot.
And disappearing for more than a few days, like Tom did over there,
Yes.
is another good way.
That's
If you
another
start seeing these things, what can you do to put a flag up? I mean, do you say, are you having an affair?
Well, you have to have an atmosphere of sitting down and saying, you know, things aren't right here. I'm not happy. Am I right in saying you're not happy? I want to clarify some things. And if you can't talk it out, and people have trouble talking, I know that, for goodness sake, go to therapists. Therapists are dying for business.
And Michael
these
says
days.
if your man won't go to therapy with you, then dump him.
And I'm also saying that the reason why men are successful at cheating on women is because they have a cheating lifestyle before they even come into the marriage. Why are we assuming that these men start to cheat after they get married? Most men who cheat before they get married. So they already have the cheating lifestyle. All these inconsistencies are already a part of the relationship when they get together.
We're going to have some final thoughts on this when we return. Hollywood's hottest gossip.
Whitney Houston is pregnant, guys. Did you know that?
Get the inside scoop on Pam Anderson's hubby.
The playing around isn't the big problem in that marriage. He's dangerous.
And shocking news on Mrs. JFK Jr.
The word is that she's already a little uncomfortable being the new Mrs. Kennedy.
We've got the celebrity breakups and makeups.
This shocks even the Hollywood insiders, I bet.
Hollywood gossip on Rolonda. Tom, here's a comment for you.
Tom, I was in the bar business, and I went from being just, the everyday guy. You go to the bar business, you're passing out the drinks, you're the main man, the center of attention, right? All the girls want you. Now the bar's closed and you're in a monogamous relationship. It's not a coincidence. You're just a normal guy again, okay? It's just time to grow up. Period.
Tom, after going through this experience, would you stop cheating?
I'm reformed now.
Oh, you're reformed. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say that Michael said before about something with Geraldine about asking for sympathy. Well, she didn't ask you for your sympathy. And number two, for Geraldine, by the grace of God, your children will forgive you, so you don't have to worry.
Thank you.
It's not only the healing that has to happen within the couple's relationship, but the family involved as well. Where does Geraldine start? Nancy surprised her today on the show and told her she forgives her mother. Where do they start now after the show?
Well, I do think, Geraldine, you need to forgive yourself. You are guilty of being lonely. You are guilty of not being able to talk with your husband. That's it. You were guilty of wanting more for yourself, too. Add that to the list. Your children, I think, will forgive you. But I think first you need to empathize with them. You have to listen to them. They have to get out all of their anger at being denied what they called a normal childhood. And I wish you well with that, because I hate guilt. I want everybody to wear a T-shirt that says, I hate guilt.
Well, I want to thank you all for being here. I'm sorry, we are out of time for today's show. But thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Sorry about that.